Shalom family, greetings to each and every one of you, those who are already there and also those who are joining the Voices to Israel channel project. How are we? Wow.
With high expectations, how are you?
Look, as you saw in the previous video, we were working a lot. It was hours of sitting there, doing research, and also everything we have to share with you. It's not just coming from here, from our heads, but it's researched work. So today we're in one of the places that, as we said before, there was a continuation in the physical space where we are. Do you remember that we were talking about Guy Ben Enom? We also talked about how the Hebrew word as a whole later becomes the term known as Gehenna, which in Spanish is also known as hell. So now we are at the base, geographically speaking. We are inside the vehicle. We have just arrived. It wasn't easy to find the place. Huh? And the area outside isn't nice either. What we're seeing out there isn't exactly what you're seeing. Now we're gonna show you what's out there. We invite you to watch until the end of this video, because the ending we're gonna share with you, I think it's the most important thing for us. It's what motivated us to make this material. I mean, stay until the end, because I repeat myself. It has a message that I think we all need to understand, and it's a message that was given to us. Now then, where are we? We said that we are in the base area. When I say base, I'm talking about the meeting point of the valleys. Remember that we talked about the location of the Kidron Valley.
Of the valley?
Of the Tyropean Valley and the Valley of Hinnom. Guy Ben Hinnom Guy. This is the valley in which we are standing. We are on a kind of little hill. Now when we get out of the car and go, we are on a kind of little hill. And we have everything in front of us. The Eastern Arab neighborhood, which is known as the Silwan neighborhood. Why do we tell you that the area is not so pleasant? Because it's an area where there is no 24/7 security from the state of Israel. And even though there are cameras
Around, but
police or soldiers don't come in here. This is a place where, in fact, you will see police vehicles coming in here. Everyone is protected because here they throw stones. They usually throw stones at the vehicles that drive by. They break their windows, so these windows have a kind of wire mesh and they're glass. The vehicles that come in here from the army are armored. So please, everyone who is going to watch this video, and I know there are many tourists who go on adventures who say, let's get a car and go there because we want to see the place. Don't even think about doing it. Don't do it, okay? Don't do it. Do you want to get here? Hire a guide. Go with a company. We're not telling you this because that's what we do. We're telling you this for your safety. It's not a safe place. So that being said, let's
start walking.
We're going in. So get ready, fasten your seatbelt, grab your water bottle because we're about to go through something very important from the New Testament. We're going to talk about 3 people who are involved in 2 specific events in the New Testament, more specifically in the trial of Jesus. And is it related to the betrayal and death of Jesus? There we go. Okay, now you can see what we see. And let's get into position. Let's walk a little further up. And up here, we'll be able to show you what we want to show you. As you can see, it's pretty abandoned. Lore, this whole walk.
Exactly. Here you can also see why it's not adapted for tourism either.
Exactly, yes.
Look,
You can hit your leg on a metal sheet and hurt yourself. There's a cable crossing there. I don't know. Kind of illegal, that cable, right? Is someone cutting off those people's electricity? Okay, let's do it like this. All that you see there, all of this that you see there, that I keep pointing at with my finger, here, 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 here. That way, in that direction. That's the Kidron Valley, okay? The Kidron Valley. We said that it was the place where Jehoshaphat says that the Lord will judge the nations of the earth. What you see down here, look there, that bus that just left. It goes through the area of East Jerusalem, but it will connect with West Jerusalem. Which one is West Jerusalem? Look up there, the flag of Israel.
you can see the Israeli flag over there.
It means that Jews live in that house, and most of the time they could be settlers. What are Jews? Settlers? They are those who live on the borders.
Dangerous.
So that, to show that they are still, that they are still within the boundaries of their land. Now, something interesting that as we saw before, we also remember now. That this valley, now we are on another valley. We're standing in the valley of Gai Beninum, also called the Valley of Enum. And you'll be able to see more over here, that Valley of Enum. There is the corner. Look, right there. That's exactly where they meet. Lori, do you see there then? That way is the Valley of Cedron, and here's the Valley of Enum, which goes this way. So, everything goes to Western Jerusalem from there? This was exactly as we saw before, the place where in ancient times the name Gai Beninum appears for the first time in the Bible. Do you remember that we said earlier in the book of Joshua that it's the border
of the
borders of the tribes? Of which tribes? Judah and Benjamin. So the Valley of Hinnom, which is the one we're walking through right now, was the difference. Up to here, one tribe lived, and from here to the other side, another tribe lived.
Thank you. Exactly.
Now we're kind of halfway through. From the wall of the valley. Okay, every valley. A valley that is a valley. And does it have walls? Yes.
exactly. So
Those are natural walls, made entirely of earth. We're in the middle of an open area, as you can see. And apparently this is someone's home. Lambs.
Goats must.
Beef.
Sheep? Yes.
We just saw a camel around here. But why were we here? Because, well, behind us, here, there. Earlier, remember when we were coming up, we could see the little flag, that one from Israel, from the houses we said belonged to some Jewish settlers, who are the ones marking the line. And we also said, oh, it's good to remember, because we might have mentioned it in the previous video about the place where we are today. It's a place that during its origin has something that is the geopolitical common denominator. Let's do this. You stand here, I'll stand there.
okay, there.
There we go. What do you think now?
I feel good.
We looked like David and Goliath. The same
Height lore.
jump.
Also, so now we're better.
So we were saying that since the geopolitical problem was born, why geopolitical? We marked the boundary between the tribes of Benjamin and Judah. This is where they divide, okay? If you're there, you're one tribe. I'm here. The line divides us, so I'm another tribe. We're in the same place geographically, but politically we're divided. Did you realize it's geopolitical?
Exactly.
Okay, nowadays we're exactly in the same situation because this back of ours is the Jewish part. But not everyone who lives there is Jewish, because there are also Arabs there who have Israeli citizenship, so they recognize Israel as a nation. But on the other side of the street, there are Arabs who don't have Israeli citizenship, because they don't recognize Israel as a nation. So geographically, we're back to the same thing. They're in the same situation. Politically, they're split by ideology. We want one nation, they want another, and so on. 2,000 years ago, we were in exactly the same situation. It's interesting how that topic always repeats itself, isn't it? Yes?
It's been there from the start and still remains.
Exactly. It's
Also a way in which people can coexist, because if there weren't any boundaries, a geopolitical issue would be a problem. It changed in this way. You're on your side, I'm on my side. There's tension.
but
As long as neither of us crosses the line too much, we can keep going.
other
Words we share.
the space. But we don't share the thought.
We don't share the space or the same spirit and intention.
Geopolitical problems occur inside houses too. Every house faces its own geopolitical issue. Why do we say this? To focus directly? 2,000 years ago, back then behind us, these houses didn't exist as we see them today. What you could see back there was a temple. From here, you could see the temple. So what we saw back there was the temple of King Herod, not Solomon, of King Herod. What to?
Would it be the
Temple number 2? Second temple. That's the one Jesus saw in person. Let's remember that Jesus didn't live in Jerusalem. He came to Jerusalem. Every time there were festivals, what is known in Hebrew as Haggai Regli, the pilgrimage festivals. They had to make a pilgrimage 3 times yearly. So Yeshua would come, and he usually used the good road that's in front of us. Later we'll show it to you that it came from Jericho and ended up arriving at that place. Obviously there was leadership here. Back then, the leadership was known as the religious leadership, the Sanhedrin, and the geographical territorial leadership of the Romans. Here we go again to
Another conflict.
So the Romans had conquered this place, okay? Hadn't they done it through wars? Didn't they fight with the Jews to gain the physical space?
exactly?
They reached agreements with the priests and they kept the place. But one of the things and one of the points was this: we'll give you the best house you've ever had for your God. And they built him the great temple. The Sanhedrin of that time, the leaders had a political agreement with Rome, but still the Sanhedrin was in charge of the political and geographical affairs of the Jewish people.
But how can we explain that this political part of the Sanhedrin is not the same politics? What did the Romans have? How can we explain it so that it's clear who plays each role?
The Sanhedrin was governed only according to the Bible, but they also added what is known in the Mishnah, the oral law. That means they had different thinkers who said, we make decisions according to our sages from the past. Not according to Roman law. Roman law was, we imprison this person, send him to the gladiator, release the animals, it's over. Does he serve the sentence? In Judaism, it wasn't like that. In Judaism, it was, let's go to jail, and they put him in jail. But according to Roman law, they couldn't take anyone's life, whether they were Jewish or not. The Sanhedrin, so they could, fine you, you had to pay taxes and all that. They might say, now you must bring us many items for the temple and repent for your sins. It was more like the authority.
Religious, but
Also ethical. Ethically, you had to act properly since the territory wasn't entirely ours.
that's why they couldn't make fully political decisions,
Exactly.
because they couldn't.
B.
Them and
There were many fights there too, just like today, right? A lot of the leadership back then made deals with the leadership on the other side. There were finances involved. A lot of bartering. And in the end, it's the people who pay the consequences. So that's what happened in the past. Is it
different
what happens in
today, all over the world, right?
Jesus was here, and Jesus was a problem for the Sanhedrin, so the Sanhedrin had to make a decision. And remember that in the New Testament, we've seen many times that they would sit down to plan, what do we have to do? How can we do it? What is this one doing? They sent the rabbis to Capernaum to see if he was really performing miracles or not. If he was the one who was supposed to come. Several asked him, Dino, are you the one? Are you not the one? They were uneasy, constantly questioning if he was or wasn't. until they had to make a
decision.
The people started to get nervous. I mean, what's going on that the Sanhedrin isn't saying anything? What's going on that our leaders aren't saying anything? He's fulfilling the messianic prophecies, so why isn't he the one? Say something? And what they said was the decision.
Negative, that it isn't.
Wrong.
Exactly.
What was the decision? Is it, let's look for someone inside the house from their inner circle to give us information? Where is he? Where does he go? What does he do? What doesn't he do? And they chose someone named Judas. Someone who knew about finances, someone who knew how much it cost to make it to the end of the month, someone who was surely struggling because that month was going to be pretty tough for them. Someone who was perhaps already tired. Because maybe they didn't have a salary for the work they were being given. So maybe they felt in some situation, possibly, this is just my own thought being used. The enemy obviously started to use all these things to put a spirit of rebellion in him. In other words, what finally happens is that the Sanhedrin arrives. They find Judas right in that situation and say to him, we're going to give you something. Who were the leaders of the Sanhedrin at that time? Leadership existed, but the Sanhedrin's leadership needed to be tied to religious authority. Who were the religious leaders?
the high priest.
The high priest?
But who were they then?
Who were they? We can read it to you because we want to document ourselves with the Bible. Let's go to the Bible in the book of Luke, chapter 3, verse 2. What does Lorez tell us? Who were the leaders back then? Lorez?
Well, we can start from 1, right? Luke 3:1. In the 15th year of the reign of Tiberius Caesar, when Pontius Pilate was governor of Judea, Pontius Pilate and Herod the tetrarch of Galilee and his brother Philip the tetrarch of Iturea, and of the province of Trachonitis, and Lysanias the tetrarch of Abilene. That is to say, each one had their place, their name, their position. And that was the part of Roma?
Geographical.
Exactly, geographical and political. And during the high priesthood of Annas and Caiaphas, the word of God came to John, son of Zechariah, in the desert. And well, etc. I can keep reading it to you if you want. But anyway, there it tells us that we're talking about John,
That John got word.
the Baptist, and
That.
Annas and Caiaphas were actually the high priests of that time.
Exactly. We're talking about John the Baptist, Jesus' relative who baptized him. Zechariah was a priest too.
Zechariah was left mute when he received the news while he was performing his duties inside the temple. Elizabeth was very old, she didn't have children, and it wasn't thought that she would have a child. And in the end, she was pregnant, and when she was 6 months along, Mary went to visit her. When Mary came in, who had already received the message too, the baby in the womb, John, the baby in Elizabeth's womb, jumped for joy. That's so you have an idea of who they are.
These characters in the good sense of the word.
Word actors.
Let's call it from back then so that we can understand exactly where we are, because there's a lot of meaning here, but we have to understand the whole historical part. So we said the priests in charge back then, what was their role? To officiate services in the
temple. So
Jesus was not of priestly lineage according to the priestly lineage that was measured by the priesthoods of that time. He wasn't from Aaron's line. That's another topic which we'll cover in another video, but it's also very interesting. But he was not one who entered and officiated services, they were. So Ananias,
Annas in
the Hebrew language, was the son-in-law of Caiaphas. Caiaphas was the priest who was retiring and was teaching him the trade. To Annas, to Ananias, okay?
Annas until...
Are we good so far, Ananias? It's Annas in Spanish. So it says that when Ananias comes into leadership priesthood, Jesus seems to appear on the scene.
And
He only had 1 year of priesthood. In his year of practice, he was already getting started. He only had 1 year. And that's where the Sanhedrin comes and consults the priests, and they say, look, this is the Messiah. He claims to be the Messiah. We need to act as the people are turning against us. And then they come to a conclusion, they reach a situation, and they go to visit someone named Judas. What exactly does Judas do? Remember, they were in that scene.
Yes, of course.
Did you have that dinner? At one point, Judas has to explain how they'll recognize him.
Of course, because actually,
I mean, it's just the two of us, right? Was there?
back then,
Everyone was there.
the disciples were together all the time with Jesus.
Almost everyone looked the same.
They were always together in public and looked alike. How could you avoid making a mistake? So they would have to make a sign, something, a signal, so that the guards, in this case, because they were the ones who were going to come, could
Realize who they are going to seize, arrest.
the right person.
Exactly, and there's a code between them.
Very good.
The code is
A kiss.
a kiss on the cheek.
Wow.
Let's read it. Be careful with those who give us kisses.
This is in Matthew 26. Yes, we can read from verse 47, right?
Yes?
While he was still speaking. So here, then we're at the point where they were at the dinner, what is known as the Lord's Supper.
Last Supper.
Okay, yes.
The Pesach, no.
He leaves. They start arguing about who is going to betray him and everything. And while he was still speaking, Yehuda, one of the 12, came, and with him a large crowd with swords and clubs, sent from the chief priests and the elders of the people. And the one who was betraying him had given them a sign, saying, "The one I kiss, he is the one, arrest him." And immediately he approached Yeshua and said, "Greetings, teacher," and then kissed him. And Yeshua said to him, "Friend, why have you come?" And then they came forward and laid hands on him.
And they took him away.
Definitely all.
One night. That happens about 600 meters from where we are. The physical space is very important because of what's coming next, because now comes the situation. We're in the critical hour. They just caught the teacher of teachers. They just caught the Messiah. The plan so far is being executed perfectly. They said they would pay. He delivered. Both parties kept their word. Judas receives the money, and Judas goes and makes the delivery, and then they take him away, what Judas did. Apparently, he hadn't realized that the condition handing him over was going to go much further. Who knows what the members of the Sanhedrin might have told him?
Do you think they left something out when explaining to him?
What do I think they might have told him? We just want to warn him about some things. We want to talk to him. There are a lot of people around. Tell us who he is. We'll bring him to jail. We'll arrest him and clear up the situation a bit for him. We want to know who your teacher is. Let him meet with the Sanhedrin in secret, because otherwise, I don't know what the people might do. So, I don't think they would have told him.
Let's go.
To catch him, we're going to
Pay for.
kill him. Why do I say that? Because Judas later understands.
Well, it could be, as you say, that's one option, that he is.
They played with words. So I'm not saying Judas was good.
I want to.
Say that he was good, because just by doing that, he could have gone and told him, "Look, Jesus, they want to talk to you. They're offering me
Money, we share it.
I'm going to kiss you. They're coming."
I could also have said, "Lord, help me get out of this temptation. I don't want them giving me money." Obviously.
What he did wasn't good from any point of view. He takes everything, but I'm trying to give him a chance. That he's not 100% bad. She was with him for 3 years.
Well, period. I don't know about that.
Knows if...
Bad.
Alright, we won't go into details. There you can decide if Judas was good or bad in the end, or if he was deceived. He had opportunities. Obviously, he had opportunities. He chose the worst one. But what happens then? He realizes that situation
And says.
that he's going to the priests again.
So that's verse 27, right?
Let's look at it. Mateo, please. Mateo chapter 27.
In verse 13. Then Judas, the one who had betrayed him, seeing that he was condemned, returned the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and elders, repenting, and said, "I have sinned by betraying innocent blood." But they said, "Well, what does that matter to us? That's your responsibility. He must have felt so bad, betrayed, rejected.
Rejected. Everything that happened and might happen, right?
Did they trick you?
Now he has to face his friend, the one who managed his finances. His teacher, whom he saw perform miracles and believed was the Messiah. A situation where, obviously, I wouldn't want to be in Judas Pobre's shoes. I don't know what went through his mind at that moment, but it wasn't the best time to be in his place.
So,
What does he end up doing? He says, take this money, I don't want it, because I finally understand that he was innocent. So it's not so they do to him what they have planned to do. Take the money, and those people end up saying, no, we don't want that money.
Why don't we want it?
A little further on it says the chief priests taking the pieces of silver said it is not lawful to put them into the treasury because it is the price of blood. And after consulting they bought the potter's field with them as a burial place for foreigners. Therefore that field, etc., etc., yes?
You can read it. What does it say?
Huh? That is why that field is called the field of blood to this day.
So the words spoken by the prophet Jeremiah were fulfilled when he said,
And they took the 30 pieces of silver, the price of the one valued by the children of Israel, and gave them for the potter's field.
what did the Lord command me?
Okay. What do you think? If we take a few steps and go to one of the places that's leading us to our next topic. Are you staying there? With this thought? Remember that at this moment in the story, what just happened here is that Judas, a few meters away, he gives him the coins. They say we're not going to take it because this was destined for blood. That is, when it says destined for blood, it means for death because blood will be shed. So we can't return it to the treasury.
Because
It's dirty money. The way it was planned was shady. So what we're going to do is a good deed. We're going to give an offering. We're going to buy a territory that was called the Potter's Field.
the
The Potter's Field in the Spanish language is referred to like this. It was a kind of farm that existed back then. But it also has another name that they will give it later, which is called the Field of Blood. In some places or in some Bibles, it is known as Akeldama. Akeldama. It is a transformation of the Hebrew language from saying Gelkadama, which is Gelkadama. It's Gaelic, we said portion.
damn,
Damn, Dama is blood. Blood. Portion of blood. Why portion of blood? Do you remember that we saw it in the first video? In the first video, we said that there was innocent blood here. In Gehenna, guy, Beninon guy.
Beninon?
Remember when we discussed King Moloch, how they brought innocent children and spilled innocent blood? This whole place was known as the place where we are now.
Yes, kid.
It's the Potter's Field, which is the Aceldama. It's the place that represented hell.
Of course, for
The Old Testament, and Jesus spoke about Gehenna on several occasions, referring to the situation of hell, not hell as a physical space, but rather what hell is like. So, the people who lived in the Old Testament imagined this place as,
hell?
this was hell. It was the place where you weren't supposed to be. Of course.
It's like those two kinds of hell are associated. It's an association, so it's like there's a burden that's been carried for many years with a tense situation of death, of blood, of innocence. So it's like people already had that association.
Exactly. Now then, we said Gelkadama, Aceldama. Finally, these priests say, let's buy there to bury whom exactly? The foreigners and the poor.
Poor people with Obimit, a place like the...
We're being
buried where?
no one would remember them. Let's go over there, okay? Does that sound good? Lore? Yes.
Let go.
Let's go. I had to hand in the sheet.
Yes.
Look, what am I doing here? Are we good there? Yes, we're good. Let's see. What's behind us? A camel?
You can still see the camel, right?
It
Went up.
There. He's up there. He's watching us from there.
Wow, look.
If you've never seen us run, this might be your chance. I didn't think.
That I was resting.
Let's hope he isn't thirsty and doesn't see us as his water boys.
He's tied up. Go ahead.
Let's go.
Let's get to the point.
To the point, he's onto something tremendously incredible. Yes. We will explain to you, and it also has a very interesting meaning. Okay, we said Akeldama. We're in Akeldama, the field of blood, the potter's field. Are we in hell? Was this hell? Yes or no? Was this hell for Old Testament people lore? It was Gehenna. This was, if you tell me Gehenna.
Explain yourself. Where does it come from? Yes.
If you say Eduardo, Diosef, and Lorena were in hell, we were in hell. We are now in...
Remembering how we got to the word of, because you explained the topic of Akeldama very well.
Yes.
With Janon, yes.
I mean, why?
You arrived?
At the word...
Gino? I mean, go back to...
Repeat. Go back to the first video. If you don't understand why we're discussing hell and you're still watching, start there. And everything else is because gay beninon. Gay is the cup. Always remember that. The cup, gay beninon. And the word ends up changing over time. Gay beninon into ginon. Okay? And?
Is that where Nahon comes from?
And that's where the term infierno appears in Spanish. Because...
Gehenna is in Hebrew, hell is in?
Spanish? Ginon represented the place where sinners were going to end up. So that's where the offering was made, where the sacrifice was, where the fire was, all of that. Everything bad was Genin, which obviously stopped being used for a long time, and that's exactly when these priests ended up buying it. It was an unused space. This place wasn't used, of course. It was a place for garbage, so...
That's why. That's because of the garbage issue. You explained it very well. He's coming now.
From before here, yes.
Because...
Through the garbage door, the temple's trash was taken out, and the closest place they had was to throw it right into the Gai Beninon. And they burned it, because at that time there was no waste treatment or garbage truck, so in order not to spread diseases and die and to avoid the smell, the garbage was set on fire right there in
that
valley. So
another
thing we also associate with smoke is the bad smell of garbage. After what happened with the issue of the king of the god Moloch, everything was just one thing, like a very hot pot, right?
what is it?
No one wanted to come near this place. That is to say, it had a history from the past.
Very dark.
I think
They must have made a...
very ugly. To this day, as we told you, don't come to this place. It's not a nice place to come to, and it's not a nice place to say, I'm here.
Me,
I'm gonna have a coffee there at...
the mountain.
I mean, it's not pleasant. Even today, it's still an unpleasant place. And also, just thinking that you're sitting in a place where you might dig something up and find small bones. There's still a lot of archaeological work to be done here. In fact, this one we have behind us is an archaeological site that was discovered recently. By that, I mean 1992.
No.
I'm talking about 1,000 years ago. That's actually recent, unfortunately. The place is neglected due to lack of funds, but now we're going to tell you about that. So we said that we were in Akeldama, we're in hell. As represented in the Old Testament, we're in Gehenna, we're in the place where the priests bought this land. They paid the price for the blood that was going to be shed with those coins, okay?
Has Jesus surrendered?
I was going to ask, how many coins were there? But we'll let them write down in the comments below how many coins there were. Okay? Were they gold or silver? I gave a bit extra there. Look, so, did they buy this place? When they buy this place, what happens is that... And here's an interesting part. Judas When he saw that these people reacted that way, we don't want your money, it's your problem. You deal with it. He grabs it and leaves right at that moment. I don't think it took Judas 2 days, 3 days, or even 4 days. The Bible doesn't tell us that. It was something immediate. As soon as he leaves, where does he go? He wants to disappear completely. As from the geography of that era, he goes to the darkest place, the outskirts of Jerusalem, to the place of garbage. He climbs up some high place. The Bible tells us that he hangs himself in the book of Acts. Peter gives us a bit more information when he's telling that story. He gives us a bit more detail about what happened to the body afterward. Because what happened was what we talked about yesterday, that possibly when he goes to hang himself, okay? So he falls from the height he needs to fall from, and during that fall, he hits something on the way down. With a log, a tree, a rock, or something. Pedro tells us in Spanish that it splits in two, but it's really just his body opening up. It comes out of him. What happens to him is pretty unpleasant, right? Part of his body comes out, so he expresses it and eventually splits in two as a result. So that happens somewhere around here, where we are in this field. Now, was it called the Field of Blood? Back then it was called the Potter's Field. It was called the place of the Gehenna. It was called the place where all the bad things went over there. So, the high priest goes and buys the place in the area he had, and it was known as the field. Okay.
Exactly.
Of lady,
Because
there was innocent blood. She was called Aceldama. So, not specifically, and here's something, not specifically. What's his name? Not Pedro, Judas? Did he buy that space for him?
I mean, not the entire field.
Not the whole field. Why do I want to clarify this? Because a lot of people think that Judas went and bought his piece of land to be buried. So, as often happens, you start paying, sometimes even paying a lot. Where will I be buried? So it's not like Judas did that, paying monthly to be buried? Judas went to the place that was called Akeldama, and when the Bible says that he paid for that field, it means that he, with the blood money that was going to be handed over, paid. He didn't buy it physically or financially. That's the punishment.
We understand then.
Do you understand? I mean, like, as we say, Jesus paid the right price.
He paid the right price.
He paid for his sin and the sins, covering the price. So after buying them, he paid financially, right? The same thing happens with Judas. Judas didn't go and buy it. Judas, he pays the
price that
he paid, the punishment.
he paid, right? Or
The punishment will be collected this way. In other words, you are going to die in the place of blood with the money that was meant for blood. And not just him.
well,
He died in that place.
okay.
Book of Juan. So we wanted
to say when Jesus was captured, when they found him, then when Judas betrayed him with a kiss, everything else they did to him, the trial and everything. Huh? It keeps progressing with the trial, questions, and investigations. So we read in John 18 in verse 24, a very brief phrase about Annas. Then he sent him bound to Caiaphas the high priest, that is to say, the two of them were still present during the course of this trial, of these investigations. One couldn't help, so he sent him to the other to see if they could.
exactly.
They were allied?
Exactly. And well, let's leave this story behind. This story ends. It passes, okay? Annas and Caiaphas remain in leadership. In the priesthood, Peter appears on the scene. They send for Peter. They send to put him in jail. Remember? Were they the same priests who were on the scene?
Yes.
I mean, already.
So you mean already?
It happened that Jesus also, he says,
Died?
He resurrected. 40 days he left. That's it. No more. Now Pedro and the apostles were starting the ministry in the city of Jerusalem.
We're now in Acts of the Apostles.
Already in the book of Acts. Now, why did we get there so quickly? Because we are only talking about understanding what finally happened with Caiaphas. Okay, the Bible doesn't tell us exactly how Caiaphas died. Yes,
No.
we have it. But we know that Jerusalem was conquered. We know that Jerusalem was destroyed a few years later, in the year 73. The Romans end up eliminating the city of Jerusalem. They end up destroying the temple. The Jews are expelled. Which means that something else comes into play here. That the tombs are not going to be visited.
Why?
Because already, they stopped being together. For example, remember that in Judaism, for those who don't know, in Judaism 2,000 years ago, what happened? Did you die?
Well, a person,
I was dying.
a person,
Was dying, someone was dying, someone was dying. And you had to wrap the body, right? Wrap it, wrap it, wrap it, wrap it. Prepare the aromatic spices, put it on. Inside a tomb like the one behind us. What were they?
yes, usually on the stone.
A stone was placed inside a tomb.
More money, the
People with money had caves like this. Actually, there are many tombs here. It's a burial site. And, after a year, all that cloth was removed and the body would decompose. What I'm saying is unpleasant, but we need to explain how it worked so
people know. And
then someone would have to do the job of gathering the bones and putting them inside a
Should I say it? Yes?
Leukemia?
gluscoma, known in Spanish as
Osario?
osario and osario. For us, gluscema and osario are the same, right?
We don't know when.
We speak in Spanish, and sometimes we don't. The osario is a small stone box with a stone lid. And the name of the one we just finished was put on it.
Putting on.
The bones in there. And those bones were placed to the side, in a pit. It would be known as a niche, the term niche.
Tell us, what's the difference? I mean, what's the difference between an ossuary and a sarcophagus? Isn't it the same? You're not talking...
About that? I'm not talking about a sarcophagus. Why aren't you talking about that? Is it another people, another religion, another god? No, it's not. And
Was the sarcophagus too?
it was long. It was like
Whole funeral.
like the Egyptians, they used sarcophagi.
The
The Jewish people, not others. Another burial system.
all the bandages were taken off. The body had already disintegrated.
And
They gathered the bones and put them together.
them,
They combined them into a smaller container.
all disassembled.
They weren't a skeleton. They were taken apart.
Exactly. Now then, why are we giving all this interesting information? I stayed in pause mode, didn't I?
No, but we discussed how Pedro had started giving the speech. We were already in Acts,
Love you.
Apostles, and he was speaking. He made like a story, like an explanation, and there he also tells a little bit about what had happened with Judas and him.
Exactly.
Remember, he also bought and hanged himself.
He bought blood compression. Like we said, part of him left and everything else. We weren't in the explanation. When Jerusalem is conquered, then you can't come anymore. So why can't you come? Because the Romans didn't allow the Jews to come? So if my family was buried here and I died over there, usually they had to bring me to my family's tomb. And after a year, I had to come back so someone from my family could take out my bones and put them with the families. So this cemetery stopped being used back then after the Roman revolt in 73 after Jesus. Now, and this is a very interesting fact according to the United States Medical Science Journal. We'll leave the information down below. They did a lot of research. There were archaeological works by Rishita Tikos. How do you say the ancient archaeology of the state of Israel? The officials of the state of Israel did archaeological work here where we are. In the year 1992, is located this site we have here. Because of a really heavy rain came rushing through the valley of water, through the valley of... How did we say it? From Guy, Beninom, Valley of Imnom? And then this that we have here is discovered. The ground starts to disappear. And this is here, the archaeologists come, they start to investigate what it's about, what's there, what's there, what's there. They come, and they find some really interesting things. Listen carefully, listen carefully, listen to what these people found. They found pieces of cloth, not just any cloth. Ask me, what kind of cloth?
What kind of cloth was it? Was it special? Do you have one that I used?
Something that can last?
Yes, a fabric.
Special? We're talking about 2,000 years.
Besides, it's good quality.
Lino.
For special people.
Lino no.
Wasn't just anyone already.
With that, I told him. A large part of those who know the Bible, the history, with that I said a lot. If there was linen cloth, does it mean that it was given to a specific elite?
Only them.
They could have garments. Someone was buried here.
With clothing.
Made of linen. When archaeologists investigated, they found it was a tomb. Very. That it's very elaborate, that a lot of investment was put into it. Because this place was for the poor.
That's what I was going to say, because we said before that it was for the poor. It was
A place for the poor.
So how can it be that there are
A tomb.
special?
Because does it have to fulfill something?
Yes.
They said, we're not going to collect that money. Not for the treasury, but to buy the field of blood, because it was meant to kill the innocent. So all those people, Judas ended up dying here. In 1992, linen was found. An incredibly crafted tomb was found. Not Roman, Jewish, and it has something truly incredible on top. Let's try to go in. We just tried to go in.
I'm already excited.
We tried to enter, but found animals inside. Are we allowed?
Try going in or just look.
At least, how neglected it is. But there was something that had horns. And it wasn't exactly hell, but it was a sheep. Like a
Ram.
ram, yes.
Now there already was.
A drawing. Yes. It's not there, Rial. It's there. I wanted to go in.
It's better if we stay here.
Okay. He tilted his head like this, looked at me, and I left. Maybe
we will zoom.
Let's see what's inside there. There's an animal in there. Hopefully it's gone. Let's check. Now then, this is the really interesting part, and I want us to focus on this. They took him to the Institute of Medicine for research on ancient garments from thousands of years ago. They did the research and found DNA in that cloth. They were able to extract DNA. Then,
After so many years, it's possible to extract it.
the DNA, they extracted the DNA. With the DNA, they managed to discover not who the person was, because it's very difficult to know who it was. If you don't have more information about that family, but you can figure out what kind of person it was or what they died of.
You can also find out from which era.
Of course.
Era, also more or less the
Era, the tomb by
tomb, it says.
2,000 years old.
2,000-year-old
chest.
And why do you say
The cloth? 1,000 years old, the DNA. When it's taken out, and it's discovered that the person who wore that cloth had a disease. Known in ancient times as leprosy.
it was possible to know that he was sick? With that, he was
Sick.
When
a person was sick with leprosy, what happened in ancient times? They kept...
outside and
They had all their skin like sores. Their bodies were covered in sores. They were...
covered too, because they didn't
It's that everyone.
could see. And
Did you have to be outside the city? Yes. Let's see. Where are we now?
outside the city,
On the outskirts of the city? Were you dying in Fermo? Of leprosy? Could they bury you outside the city?
yes,
Were burials always outside the city? Yes. But it was another reason why you couldn't enter the city, because you had leprosy. Just imagine. They took the body, which is why it lasted so long. When the species start doing it, the body by day. It was impure to approach someone who had leprosy. No, you couldn't get close.
So who could,
Have done that.
wrapping on the body, I mean, someone who,
Did it have to be someone worthy to approach? So, someone you absolutely had to approach.
to do,
The body cleaning work?
family member could have been,
Or family member? Or is it just because they made you get closer? Go purify that body, that's all.
it could be that someone,
Because that body needs to be purified?
it could be like a job that
Someone?
is doing.
So you couldn't refuse because it involved someone important or aspiring to be a king or priest. Well, there was no other way. An ordinary person had to pay a lot of money for them to do that. They weren't going to do it, right? Anyway, he was dead.
So how
Can we?
connect all these points and information together that you are providing from all their investigations? How can we?
Here it goes. Why?
Do we have this
Topic.
along with the story of the Bible
Because it's incredible how a point in history is coming to a close.
that it doesn't?
Wasn't closed until now.
So
With all the archaeological work, the technology, the science that sometimes makes us angry with them, we achieve tremendously incredible things. What is finally discovered is that it belonged to a worthy person. It belonged to a person who wore linen clothing. It belonged to a priest. Does that mean that a priest was buried there? Could we find out what era it was from? Yes, we said 2,000 years ago, but who was this priest?
were there many priests? Was he?
The big question, who is it? Who is it? Who is it? The archaeologists started to investigate, to investigate, to investigate, to investigate. And what do you think? They found an ossuary. Remember when I said they'd put the name on it?
Was it carved on it
Exactly.
with a hammer and with
And Yosef ben Caiaphas.
how?
Caiaphas?
Caiaphas, the one we just read about here.
Priest Caiaphas from the New Testament, the one who's sent to do this. Plot to kill Jesus with the coins that would end up always destined for blood.
In
In the place of the humble, in the place of the poor, in the place that was destined for blood. From the death of the innocents, the priest who was involved in let's kill the innocent also met his end. In the same place where he said, it's not our problem, it's your problem, in that same place. Also, he was killed.
so wow,
It's incredible field of blood. It's
incredible. So he had to, as we say, taste his own medicine, his own
solution, his...
own project. He
He can even say, as it was said about Judas, just that there was no one to write about him. Afterwards, he paid the field of Akeldama to bury himself.
wow.
He bought it, saying it was for foreigners, but he ended up being buried in it himself.
How incredible. Please,
What do you think? Should we try to go in?
please.
Let's try it. Let's try to get in there.
Will you show us a photo also of the?
And after trying to get in, yes, we'll show a photo after trying to get in. Stay with us, because we want to explain to you why this video is important. What is it that finally led us, out of all this information we just gave, what exactly is leading us to share the message we want to give you? In the next few minutes, we're going to go inside. We're going to look at some details. Let's go. Come with us, you too. Come with us. Okay, so let's go inside this place. As you can see, lore, it's not well maintained, right? It's not well maintained? Exactly. We can already...
See that there was probably a fire, maybe a campfire that left all of this black.
But, you know, also...
Besides the humidity, right?
Yeah, you know what I mean? This also helps us remember what this place used to be, right? The Bible tells us it was the potter's field. I mean, it wasn't a temple. It was a place for alfalfa. Right? Yeah.
See?
What do you call this? Go ahead.
Yes, huh?
Something similar?
No.
Look,
Is there that?
what happened, Lord?
The camel is coming?
The camel is coming.
Edu, I'm seriously telling you, Edu there.
The camel is coming. Look.
Okay, let's do our part quickly. Come on.
Come on, let's keep going. Look, isn't he supposed to go in there? Isn't he supposed to? See? He's not supposed to, I know. But look, let's go in there. You might get scared. Here comes the camel. He's showing that he's the boss. Let's go in, let's go in. I'm coming in, I'm coming in. Come on, it's just 2 seconds. Let's try it. No, there's not much to see. It's a cave. Yeah, there is some important information here. Well, this cave there, there was a dome here. You can see half of it over there. The ceiling was just like that, exactly like a ceiling. Well, there were vandals here. They're called those who vandalized the place, right? Vandals, those who steal and more. Look, the little camel. It's looking at us more and more. It's getting closer to us. It's coming towards us more and more. Maybe this is his house. Maybe this is his house. Let's go. Let's see what we have here. Here we go. There it is. There's the animal. The animal is there. He's there, but it's small. I don't think it'll chase me. See what? There, like I told you before, notice that there are different ones. This place is pretty ugly. Believe me, the smell here is really bad. Hey, look, it's moving. The little animal is moving over there. The most incredible thing? Well, there are the niches. You can see a niche right next to him. Here's another niche, another niche, another niche. More than 60 niches were found in this place. Here there are caves that you go down to by stairs to another area. I'm not going in since that guy will chase me away, but I want to show you this. Look at the work on that stone, Laura. You can see the craftsmanship on the stone, which is representing the doors of the temple. It means that a Jewish people were buried here. It was
Jewish people?
represented by the temple. Here it is. Look at this.
Roof? Incredible, like a rosette.
Incredible, incredible. There's something similar that was found in the synagogue. What incredible, 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 incredible. Go ahead. Like this, you can see above. Another part. All of this, obviously, these doors represented the coming century when the Messiah comes. Let's see, up here. It's time for El Cameo to come eat, good people. The camel who behaved well.
I won't say anything anymore. Let's go.
Let's see, there's more here? Huh? All of this. It's like we said before, what will be rediscovered with EH. The rain? With the rain situation, it's time. I'll walk a bit farther so you can see more graves here. It's not the only one, but it's the most incredible.
Look where we are.
Net. Look, inside there are rooms, more rooms, more rooms, more rooms, more rooms that lead you further inside. I'm gonna try to see if I can see it.
Well, okay.
Let's see if we notice anything. Let's see what I can see. It's tough. It's tough. Let's see. Why is that?
To know something?
Yes, but there's no light.
Of course.
How can you notice everything?
The crack in the stone, right? How did it end up in the natural stone? Martillo without a chisel to do it?
Let's try these rooms.
Inside.
Yeah, let's try later to see if we can get in with a little flashlight or something. Anyway.
Here,
we have discovered
It really is.
a place you can't visit.
Wow. And with content that makes us affirm even more. Where we stand firm in faith.
Exactly. And that's exactly what I want to share with you. Like we just said, the one who is the foundation of our faith. All these places, everything we've seen throughout these videos, starting from hell, right?
It started on earth and
Ending with the scientific archaeological investigations, everything we've experienced. We've discussed Judas, Ananias, Caiaphas, Peter, Jesus, Manasseh, Isaiah, and Jeremiah. Wow. We've taken an incredible journey. We've talked about Joshua, about the ends of the earth. We talked about geography, about politics. We talked quite a bit.
we've almost gone through the whole Bible too, practically from its beginning. Well, not until the end, but
We talked quite a bit in a single physical space.
wow, that's amazing.
Or did we create years of history in one place? Only in the valley of Enom, Gibeon Enom, in the Enon in hell, a place that is born and closes a chapter.
Yes, tell us how we could then, well, we already opened this chapter ourselves. It's not that we opened the chapter, but we've been telling it from the beginning. What? And now? How could we close? How could we,
Connect.
everything to serve us by faith, right?
Behind these olive trees, there's a whole green area. Like the Bible in the book of Revelation, after all the bad things, the valley of shadows and death and the ugliness pass, it tells us. And I saw a new earth and a new heaven. There is grass, a beautiful hanging bridge, a new image of what used to be hell, a place completely modern for today. On the earthly side, they completely transformed it into something spiritual, which is important for us to understand that He paid the price. That is to say, if you made it this far to the end of this video, that you understand that our goal above all things is to lift up the name of our Messiah and remind you that we are not here going around or remembering or invoking or I don't know, worshiping the dead. Even though we talked a lot about death in this video, that wasn't the point. That's not our purpose. Our purpose is that He can give you life after death. We know that all of this, the external things, will pass away. It's put in a box, the bones are taken out, everything is separated. It's gone, but there's something that lasts forever. And for that to last forever, we had to have made a decision beforehand. And He does it over and over again, in one way and 1,000 others. He appears in our lives and reminds us that He sent His beloved Son, that He paid the price on the cross. Everything they did, everything they planned, all had a purpose, and that purpose was to see you, to see me, to see Lore saved, and that our future is together with Him. So I just remind you that the end is not the grave. That's simply a step to where we will meet with Him. We are all going to reach the same place, but we all have the possibility that from that point on, things can change. So if you're out there, I invite you to watch other videos and you can recognize and accept that He already paid the price and He will keep doing it again and again. Significant to give you eternal life. God bless you. See you in a new episode.
To continue exploring
Israel with
the Bible in hand.
the Bible in hand. Blessings.
Blessings, shalom.